Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel. My name is Sideline Sedo. This is my first video. We're going to be focusing on sports here, mostly football, otherwise known to many Americans as soccer, basketball, and if we get some traction here, we'll dive into some other sports. And if you guys just like my kind of roundabout way of telling stories and just kind of rambling, talking, maybe we could talk about some other stuff. Who knows? But for now, it's going to be a sports YouTube channel. And for the first video, I decided to get into talking about Darwin Day. If you've been following the transfer saga, Darwin Nunez to Liverpool, by now you will know that he's officially been unveiled as a new player of Liverpool Football Club, and I'm absolutely delighted. I couldn't be more excited to see how Darwin performs, and quite frankly, I think there will be a lot of questions regarding the way Liverpool approach, the way they approach their play style, and the way that they grow as a team, so to speak, and wait for this pun, evolve as a team under Darwin as the talisman. He's the first proper number 9 that Liverpool's had in a minute. Trying to think, Firmino, he's a proper center forward, but Darwin, I see him as like an out-and-out striker. I know he could play on the left flank and as like a left winger or inside forward from what I've seen, or in a two-striker system. But Darwin looks to be more of like an out-and-out striker compared to Firmino. And past Firmino, I can't really think of anyone. I know Origi was there, the bench, and Minamino's not really a striker. Neither is Diogo Jota. So it's really like, I don't even know, maybe somebody from like the Benteke, Balotelli era, Ricky Lambert, Danny Ings, these aren't glorious names at Anfield. They're not held in the most incredible esteem. So naturally, opposition fans will have a lot of skepticism regarding Darwin, and I think that's warranted. Hey, 85 million pounds potentially being, could potentially rise to that with all the add-ons. I think eventually it will, considering it's a 6-year deal. I would be shocked if it didn't hit 85 mil. But that's a record signing for Liverpool, and quite frankly, questions should be asked, but I don't think that it's that deep. I see all these dramatic people on YouTube or on Sky Sports or wherever it might be, and they're just thoroughly convinced, oh my god, like Darwin signing for Liverpool, they're so hypocritical. Look at them signing a player for 85 million. Well, it's 64, and they're going to spread the payments across the 6 years of the contract, so it's like a little over 10 mil a season, just under 11. And then I've seen like around 6 to 7 mil in salaries, so let's say 6, because I've seen that figure more. That's just about 17, 18 million a season, whereas Haaland's making 350,000 a week, which is significantly more. It's gonna cost, and they're paying like 57, I think, million for Haaland. So they're gonna end up paying quite a bit for him. It's gonna be way more than Darwin Nunez costs, and not to really compare Haaland or Darwin like too much, but I do feel like it's just going to be a continuous comparison for their whole careers. Look at them. They're both tall, pacey, clinical strikers. They're pure number 9s, and they're both going to the best teams in England. They both kind of got long hair. One's got blonde hair and one's got black hair, and it's kind of like a marketing like coup for the Premier League. But ultimately, the state of Liverpool, I think the number one thing that needs to be looked at is just the fact that ultimately Darwin, he might not be the finished product. He might not be a perfect striker quite yet. But when Liverpool and the scouting department at Liverpool sees a player that they're interested in, it doesn't matter what the price is really. It's more like, how confident are we that this player will perform up to X level and give us this return? And we've seen it with Alisson, we've seen it with Van Dijk, we've seen it with Salah. I feel like you can make the same argument with Diaz. He kind of hit the ground running, got red hot, but it's very evident to see why he's in the squad. Same with Diogo Jota. This season he had 15 Premier League goals, and I feel like that gets overlooked by the fact that Mane and Salah had more goals. But I feel like Jota is going to be a big player in the rollout of Liverpool squad next season, and just the general play that there is. And we can go at length as to why I think that Darwin will succeed, but for me, I feel like something that needs to be brought into light is that Darwin Nunez, he's coming to Liverpool, a 22-year-old striker from Benfica. He's been there 2 years, and he was with Almeria before that. So he's still very young. He's, only like a month or two older than me. So for him to be at this state where he's joining Liverpool, people are saying, oh, he's going to have all this sort of pressure. I've been reading articles and I've been kind of checking out stuff. And the fact that him and his brother both were signed to Penarol. His brother left the club to be able to provide for his mother and the family as a police officer, and left Darwin at Penarol to follow his dreams. Darwin's made it to Liverpool, right? He's made it into the hands of Jurgen Klopp, who, in my eyes and in many people's minds, is arguably the best man manager in world football. He's at one of the best places to develop as a player. I really don't think he's got pressure, considering, he even said it in his interview. If you go and you look at it, Darwin's quoted as saying, I don't feel any sort of pressure from outside forces, effectively. All of the pressure that I have is from inside. And it's kind of like the whole Luis Diaz thing, where Luis Diaz, born poverty, was underweight as a child. When he first started playing football, there was a lot of people who turned him down because he was just too skinny. And for Darwin, I read a story about how he used to play. He'd go to school to play football, but he was only in school to play football. He would come in barefoot, and that, he didn't have anything to wear, but he was only there to play. He couldn't care less about the teaching. So for me, Darwin, the way I see him, he is still slightly a rough product, but offers us quite a bit of versatility that we're going to be lacking when Mane leaves. It's not the same versatility. He might be coming from the same channel, on that left flank and centrally, but it's not going to be the same kind of haphazard touch and go dribbling that Mane is capable of, beating players on a dime. I think a lot of it is, I think it's just going to be a mixed bag, really. I think we're going to see him popping up with some headed goals, some goals with the left foot, some goals with the right foot. But I think that all the goals he scores, all the contributions he has, as more of them happen, I think it'll just be clearer and clearer as to why he's come in. I think ultimately it's that kind of X factor that Mane had. I feel like Darwin Nunez is the type of guy that I could see scoring so many different types of goals. He's not just going to score a header. He's not just going to score a tap in the box. I feel like Darwin, there'll be goals that, are link-up play goals. There'll be plenty of goals from Trent crosses, corners. There'll be tap-ins. There'll be classic poacher goals. But I also fully expect him to have quite a few bangers here and there. So, excuse me. Been talking for roughly 11 minutes and had no water in me, but I'm not going to keep it much longer. I do want to say thank you to everybody who's made it this far in the video. I've been going on length for about 11 minutes now, and I could just keep talking, but I don't want to keep you guys here too long. So, keep it at that. I'm Sideline Sedo. Really appreciate you clicking on this video. If you really liked it, please do share, because I plan on making way more of these videos, not just about football, and not just about Liverpool either. While I am a fan of Liverpool, I have plenty more I'm willing to talk about, and I probably will have another video out within the week, kind of like rounding up transfers that people may have missed. And that'll be more of like a really robust deep dive into kind of like, hitting off like lists and just kind of like general people that have been linked to teams and have finally signed, and people were on the verge, and just kind of like a general update sort of thing. But eventually post playoffs as well for basketball, I plan on putting out some basketball content, kind of look at ranking each NBA team's postseason, and what I think they're going to do going forward, and past just for football, past just the transfer video that I'll be working on, rounding up some updates, which I'll kind of try to make more of a frequent thing each week. I'll also be delving into other sort of like areas of stuff. I have a plan for a whole lot of different variety of content, so if you guys have anything specifically in mind that you want to hear me kind of talk about, please feel free to comment it. And if you like the video, please drop a like. It would mean the world. And subscribe, share, turn on the notification bell. And I'm Sideline Sedo, and until next time, stay gold.